Welcome back to the One Line Away podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tyler Weber.
And this is Cassie Weber. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about being childless, not by choice. So what does that mean to be childless, not by choice? Obviously, you'll hear more commonly being childless by choice. And that's just not the case for us. For me, it means the life that I'm living has been set up for the desire of having children and growing a family. Now, it doesn't mean that my life is over or that it's bad, but it does mean that there's something that feels empty and missing. And this season of waiting is so hard. When you are waiting for your life to press go with having that baby, waiting for that feels so cruel.
Yeah, you feel so empty. I would say everyone always talks about the perfect timing part of it. But when you have that, everything, you're like, man, my life's set up. I have a job, I have a house, I have all this stuff. And you're like, now I want a baby. And like, you're waiting for it. And like, that's all you're thinking about. You're only thinking about empty. So when you make that comment, like it sounds loose, like, oh, you just, a little piece of you is empty, but then you have all this, and it's like, when that's all your mind's thinking about, everything's empty. So it's a little different.
Definitely. The desire that you have to want a baby, have a family, grow a family, that desire is valid. Just because you're struggling with achieving that doesn't mean that you're any less capable or worthy of having that. And I think that that's like something that me and Tyler, and if anyone is on the other screen, we need to hear that, because we don't tell ourselves that enough. People don't tell you or us that enough. And it feels so heavy and it's so sad. And it's a really simple way to wrap around how this just feels. Going through this and waiting.
Yeah, it's like whenever you look at your phone and you see the 3 dots of someone texting, but they never text back. It's like you're just always sitting there like, anything? Nothing? All right. No? Okay.
Yeah. Because of the struggle and the walk that we've been on for this long now, there's been this lie that either I've told myself or believed in that, well, maybe that's the sign that this isn't for us, or we're not meant to be parents, or we're not good enough. We're not enough. Our marriage isn't good enough.
Especially the enough part, yeah.
Yeah, and when those lies get put into your brain, it's like everything else in your life starts falling apart.
Whenever you think about the term unfair, it is unfair, right? I mean, I know it sounds like that's unfair that I didn't get that crayon, or, like whatever it was, you feel like a child, like saying that. But when you actually look at it, like, it is unfair.
The whole notion of being childless, not by choice, is unfair. Yeah. And it's just such a necessary thing to talk about in regards to feeling like your life is so stagnant. When we look at the 4 years that we've been walking this, you hope that you've lived as much life as you could given this situation, but we know in our story the things that we've missed out on, or the things that we've lost, further than the babies we've lost.
The scars we've gained.
The medical concerns I've had. It's like a lot of life has been lived in those 4 years. But my biggest thing on like coming out of some of my really, really dark periods of time in this journey has been like awakening myself to not wanting to miss out on any more, to not allow infertility and loss to have more power over me anymore. There was times, of course, that I let that happen. And maybe sometimes that it needed to happen. It's just that whole process of grieving and healing. And like Tyler kind of mentioned, like sometimes like you have that, it feels like that tone is like, oh, wham, wham, me. But sometimes with infertility, you don't want to be the bigger person anymore. You're tired of being and choosing to be the bigger person.
Yeah, you want to just throw a fit.
Yeah, like you want to just throw a tantrum. And there has been times where we have both thrown a tantrum.
Yeah.
An adult child tantrum, full throttle. And you have to accept that that's okay because it's terrible. It's hard to watch people's lives in this season of our lives move forward.
Yeah.
Move on. While we're just here craving the same thing. The craving doesn't go away. It's very real. There's been times, like I've talked about in previous episodes, where it's like, I wish I didn't have this desire in my heart because my life would probably be so much easier. Right?
If we just started traveling.
Yeah. Literally, like there's like these things that you're like, well, I'd rather do this or rather do that.
Be a pro golfer.
Yeah, you know, there's all these things, right, that you feel like, okay, if I didn't have this desire in my heart, I could go and do this, or I could have spent this there. I could have experienced this to its fullest. But when you have that desire, that true and honest, raw desire, you can't help it. Even if you try to falsely tell yourself like, oh, like there was a point in our journey where I would tell people that I would be in passing with work or in society that I would be like, oh, like we're ready to have kids whenever, or I don't know. It's almost like I would downplaying your journey is common, and downplaying your journey can protect you in specific times when it's necessary, but it can also be really harmful to yourself.
Yeah, if you keep downplaying it.
Yeah.
There was a lot, like, I mean, hence why we have what we have here. Like,
yeah.
It's because I never talked about it. And then I finally came to that realization of, I have this desire so much that, yes, I don't have a baby, but I need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Right. And I need to, even if it's just to us creating this, like, I need to talk about it. But when the desire is there, it eats at you a lot. Right. And it's every single day you wake up and you're, oh, I don't have a baby again today. I don't, you go into work and everyone's saying, oh, I was up with my kid all night last night, blah, blah, blah. Like, you hear that and you're just like, one of these days, right? These desires still there. It's always going to be there.
I think for me, even I talked about this a few times throughout this whole week going into Easter weekend. And I think holidays, and I don't know, we haven't done a holidays episode. We kind of mentioned it when we first started, but holidays is probably just another episode in itself. But going into Easter, I had this awakening or this thought of how quiet holidays have become. The laughter, the chaos, the Easter egg hunts, all of those things that I grew up doing, and those fond memories and those sweet traditions. It's hard. Like it's like you can't wait to have the family picture. I can't wait to go to church with my cute little baby. I can't wait for all of these things. And it's just so
Put
sad.
him in a peep outfit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I should save some of this emotion for an episode about holidays.
I think that'd be a good one. I don't know why we haven't thought about that one.
I know. And
I guess we really haven't been through a holiday minus what we just went through last weekend, but with Easter.
Within the podcast.
Within like making this podcast.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. If someone tells you, or if someone that you know is going through this journey, the wait, the best thing you can do is listen. If they're wanting to talk about it with you, that's number one, such a sacred thing. And two, if we want advice, we will ask for that. When you are not asking for advice, when it's unsolicited, it is not helpful. Unsolicited advice in infertility is not helpful. Period.
Yeah.
This could go on and on and on with examples of things that are not helpful. But just to name a few, when you know someone or someone has confided in you about wanting children and being childless, not by choice, it is so unhelpful when things like this are said. Well, once you have kids, your life's over. So it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Live.
Just live your life. Just live your life. That is not helpful. A big one is, are you sure you would even want to bring kids into this world? Kids are expensive. So why would you want kids? They tie you down to nothing. You will have nothing. You won't enjoy your life anymore. I think another one too is like when someone will tell you, well, you know, once you have kids, your life's not yours anymore. I'm sorry, what?
I hope you're watching. It's the best face ever.
It makes my eye twitch. Really.
Uh-oh.
My cortisol levels are bad right now. It's so insensitive, right? It's so insensitive to basically spit in someone's face on something that they want. And just because it might not be something you want, or maybe it's something that you're really struggling with that day with your personal children and you're like so over it, it doesn't take away from someone else wanting that. I want the chaos. I want that. People are so quick to put in their 2 cents. And unless you're asking for it, I don't know why we've gotten into this time or this day and age where people are just so negative. Like, kids are such a negative annotation. But there's a newsflash. There's a whole world of people who would kill for the life that you're complaining about. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. When it comes to being helpful, especially like what I said, if someone confides in you, or if you know someone's walking this and maybe you are catching yourself in a conversation or spending time with them, spending or using your energy to be affirming to that person going through that, or walking in that walk of unknown or in the wait, just simply listening goes so far and is so healing to someone who just feels heard. Because in this whole journey, you just sometimes need to be heard.
Even starting the conversation is big.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. I noticed a lot of people try to tiptoe around it or just don't even bring it up. Mm-hmm. But if you start the conversation, it kind of gives us the green light of, okay, they want to hear. Mm-hmm. Versus, oh, okay, I don't want to trouble them with my problems. Because I've had that feeling a lot.
Yeah.
Where someone, they'll like make a joke or something about it. And I'm like, you feel it out. You're like, do they actually care? Or are they just saying it to try to be funny? And when you can actually tell that they care, that's the best feeling. Because then you can kind of open up a little bit, right? It's like peeling back an onion one layer at a time. Like, you're able to actually say something to them and be like, look, this is how I'm feeling. And just their little intention of trying to be there for you is sometimes the best. Yeah,
and it just goes so far. I think that's what's hard is in such a terrible thing like this, like infertility, is I do feel like on the other side, like people are uncomfortable with figuring out how to communicate to that person.
Yeah.
When you're trying to communicate to someone that is not in the right frame of mind, who's dealing with mental struggles, maybe life struggles in all areas, it's probably super intimidating. And not everyone can offer certain things or meet with you where you are in certain ways. But if you can try to find a way that works for you, gosh, it's so cool.
Yeah, and I know it's probably hard to even figure out how to start it. But I'm going to give you some breaking news here. If I had a drum roll, if we could edit in a drum roll, please. This is all you have to say. Hey, I really don't know how to start this conversation, but I do want to check in on you. I want to make sure, I want to know how you're feeling. I want to make sure you're doing all right. And if you're not doing all right, like, you don't have to tell me your whole life story. You don't have to tell me every single detail you're feeling, but give me something, right? And it's that simple. And I know that sounds scary to do, and just, but I think it's way better than being like, so, you guys pregnant yet? Or coming off in, you know, like in such a weird way, trying to beat around the bush. You want to ask, but you don't know how. Like, just be like, look, dude, I don't know how to ask this, and I want to talk about it with you, but I'm just going to ask the question. You know, like, how are you? How are you guys doing?
It's just dropping the veil.
Just going in. I just threw my pencil for dramatic effect, but now I don't have a pencil. But it's just going right in. Like, just being 100% honest. Like, I mean, as we've mentioned so many times, this topic is not talked about enough.
Yeah.
And I think it has to end. It has to stop. It has to stop somewhere.
It's going to sound a little weird, but what I have really loved hearing when I am in this type of scenario is, this must be so hard for you. I can't imagine how hard this is, or I can't imagine how hard that is. I just think when you're able to break down those walls and lead with a bit of sensitivity, it goes so far. And I feel like it's been a big win in my life with some of the relationships that I've been able to maintain or have been able to grow even in these past 4 years. I think it's something that I hold onto so tightly, because there's just something so powerful when you lead with your heart. Before we end today's episode, there's something that we've been working a little bit more on since we've very lightly discussed or brought up the topic of merch for the podcast. And since then, we've had some really good feedback and traction in regards to merch. And it's something that for sure was in the back of our mind, but it wasn't something that we thought was going to come on this quickly. We're not there yet, but I want you guys to know that we are working on it, and it will be happening. And you guys will, of course, be the first ones to know about it. Mm-hmm. But something that, if we could ask anything of our supporters, is to message us either a quote or a phrase or a slogan, anything that we've said in any of our episodes. If you can message those to us, something that's, if any of those have resonated with you, that feels wearable, we would love to hear what you guys have to say about that, because we have some things brewing, and we also have a huge emphasis on, one, making it very wearable for both his and hers.
Yep.
That perspective is something that we want to continue forward into our merch. And so we have definitely, I mean, it's sky's the limit with merch. So hopefully in the next month or so, we will have our first limited edition launch for the podcast. So
sweet.
Yes. All right. I think that's all I got.
Sweet. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Go Avs, go.